Okay, so we're going to do two things in this video. The first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to look at Grant's repo on my computer, and he updated his HTML. Make sure it's all pulled and up to date. And so you're going to notice, because I just did a clone, I don't have his node modules in here. So I'll start by doing an npm install. And because his ports are different than mine and different routes, let me do npm run start dev. He updated his homepage. Now I don't have the. I also don't have his .env. So let's go ahead and say .env. And what we got here? Port 5000.
Yes.
And debug equals quotes app colon star.
No quotes. App colon star.
App colon star. Just like that. That's all you got?
Yeah.
Perfect. Save it. I'm going to close it. Control C and restart. Okay, so localhost 5000, we boot it up, and here we can list all users, and notice it's spitting back my API users list. User 1, user 2. Obviously, what we can do, now that we get this data back into the browser, we can use a little JavaScript in an HTML page and format that differently. But we're getting the data back as we wanted here, and this could take us to our users list, and that could take us to our bugs list, and that's what I would expect. Very good, Grant. Now, the next thing I wanted to do would be to kind of take the two concepts that we've done, which is routes and a little bit of logic. And so here, and what I mean is like problem solve. And so maybe here on bug, or maybe if I go to server, right? So without using this route, let's do like an app.get. I'm just going to make up a slash. I'm going to make up a route. So functions slash double and colon. So if you go to slash function slash double, and we'll take in a variable called number, and so whatever the number is provided here in the params, we double it, or maybe instead of taking the number in via the params, we take it in via the body. And so let's bring in rec res arrow curlies, and so const num to double equals rec.body. I need it to be an arrow function. And if num2 double res res.json. So I think the leap is not too great. The leap that I'm talking about is in the first lab, we solved some problems and we were using command line, but now we're not using command line to accept input. Now we're using Postman, right? And then in the second lab, we made all these routes. And so we said, hey, when the user navigates to this route, write this JavaScript. So now we're just combining the two, which is to say, hey, when the user goes to this route, make the user give you some input and then return success. And then we would say num2 doubled is num2 doubled times 2. Else res.json error, you must pass a number to double. So the first thing I wanted to do is kind of do a part 3 of the video, which is to just, hey, this is finishing up the HTML that we started with the links on the home page, and Grant did that real quickly and demonstrated that, so you guys can all do that. The next thing I wanted to do is say, hey, at these different routes, you can write a little JavaScript logic, whatever that logic may be, to problem solve. And that's what our hands-on test is going to be. Our hands-on test is going to be, hey, here's a problem, solve that problem when the user navigates to this route and passes in a body identifier called num2double. Then I want you to return that number times 2. And if I kind of boot this up here, this is going to be localhost, and I'll just make a new request. This is a get request at http://localhost:5000/function/double. And I think we leave that slash off. And then I go to body here and I pass in num2double, pass in the number of 3, and cannot destructure as it is undefined. And so we have to, on this file, bring in our URL encoded. And notice I don't have this here. Now it's app.use. And so that allows us to submit data from the form. Now if I go back, submit it again, 3 doubled is 6. So what is the problem? Oh, accept any input and double it. And so 8 doubled is 16. If you don't provide the num2double, it says you must provide a number to double. So that is the primer for the hands-on test. You got to combine the routes with the logic to solve problems at various routes. Is that making sense, Grant?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. So I'm going to open up the first hands-on test. This hands-on test is an assignment, your first assignment in week 2.